Welcome to my channel. I'm showing you how I paint hydrangeas, multicolored hydrangeas. I'm going to use ultramarine blue and titanium white, and I'm going to put in the background. More white, which has got a touch of green in it, but it doesn't really matter. I'm taking my cosmetic powder brush and I'm going to blend it. These brushes are ideal for this. They're lovely and fluffy and soft, and they do a great job of blending. I like my background to be soft without too many brush strokes, without as few brush strokes as I can possibly get. It's nice to have at least a couple of these around, because they need rinsing out and then they take a little longer to dry than a regular brush. There's so much of them. I'm going to use my 3/4 inch flat and put in the table, and I think I'm going to use raw sienna to do that. I should tell you I'm using water mixable oils. I forgot to say on my last video the actual paint I was using, which doesn't really help much, does it? But I'm using water mixable oils. I don't mind a few lines on something like a wooden table. It all adds to the texture. I'm adding a little raw umber too, because I just found the raw sienna was not quite doing it for me. That works. Now I'm going to do two videos. I'm going to do one where I paint the hydrangeas and a second one where I show you how I paint the glass vase, because it's too big a painting to do in one video. But I'll list them as separate videos. I'm not going to do the part 1, part 2 thing, because that would confuse you. But in this one I'm doing hydrangeas, but I'm doing multicolored hydrangeas. I've done hydrangeas before, but this time I'm doing multicolored hydrangeas, and I've got alizarin crimson mixed with a little blue in it and a little royal umber in there, and it's given me this lovely dark pink colour. And I'm just going to make a rough shape to indicate where my hydrangea head is going to be. Hydrangea is made up of many little florets. 4-petaled florets is how I think of them. And I've said before, there could be 5-petaled florets, but I've never seen them. Okay, so that's my background for that one. And I think I'm going to have a blue one, or sort of a whitish, bluish, greenish one, let's put it that way. So I'm putting that here. And I'm going to have a pale one up here. I've got to put more titanium on my palette. it won't end up looking like that, because once I put my petals on, it will change the value of those colours. I've mixed my sap green with a little raw umber, and I'm going to quickly draw in my stems, which you won't see. The stem for this one, maybe we could make it, whoops, see what I've done there. Okay, and I'm going to put in my leaves too, or just the outline of the leaves where they will be. Did I say I've mixed sap green and raw umber? I think I had a leaf in here somewhere. And I think we should have a leaf around here. Maybe one out here. I think that's good. It's just an outline of where they'll be. I'm putting paint on the canvas. That's what I'm doing at the moment. And I'm taking my brush and I'm going to outline the vase. But I'm not going to paint the vase in this video. I'm going to do the hydrangeas only. Okay, I'm using a large filbert, and I've mixed some titanium with some sap green. So I've got a sort of white that has a very greenish tinge to it. And I'm going to start on this top one up here. And this is never going to be the final. I'm just putting in rough shapes, and as I go on I will be putting in more shapes, and it will become more refined as I go on. And I'm not worrying about lights and darks, shadows and highlights. I'm just putting shapes on. At this point. Okay, that's that one done. I'm going to mix in some pink and do the same for this one. Just doing rough shapes. I'm just rinsing off my brush, and I'm going to add a little white to the blue. You can see how messy my palette is, but I like it that way. I get a variety of colours being messy. And some days I have what Bob Ross used to call happy accidents, and I'm very thankful for every one I get. Okay, we've sort of done the first stage. Okay, I've got a smaller filbert, and it's a softer brush as well. And I'm going to work on this side here, and I'm going to mix some of the blue with my green to give me sort of a greenish shadow down this side. I don't want to cover in all those lights. I'm just putting a bit of shadow down this side. And we'll do the same with the pink one, just getting a little darker down this side. And with the blue, I've rinsed off my brush and I'm going to make it lighter on this side. Not sure what that is. I think I might just like take it out of there. I'm going to start getting more definition in my petals. This is a lost edge. The colour of the hydrangea is almost the same colour as the sky, and it sort of melts into it. That's good. Going to add a little more titanium white to that and add some petals. I sort of really wish I had a larger filbert, soft filbert, but I don't, so I'm making do with this little one, but it's not doing too badly. Now I will be coming in with more highlights as we go on. Sorry, that's my dog, Tommy. Adding a little more blue. To this side. Okay, well you missed a lot of that because I forgot to switch on the camera, wouldn't you know? So I'm defining my petals a little more carefully is what I told you and you missed. And so I'm using my small filbert, which is actually turning out quite well when it comes to painting in the florets. So I don't always put in 4 petals. I sometimes just leave it at 2 or 3. And then sometimes I'll put in a 4th one. Like there. I don't worry too much about the petal shapes. Hope you can see what I'm doing. I use long-handled brushes to keep my hands out of the way, and sometimes that's successful, not always. Okay. As I go around, I sort of pick up colour from other areas, and that's all right. I don't worry about that, it just adds interest. I put the odd one in that's caught by a twinkle of light from somewhere we don't know. So I think that's pretty good for the pink one. So now I've washed off my brush. I'm going to put some white over here and I'm going to work on my blue hydrangea. I'm going to put in more defined petals, as I said. I've managed to get some green paint in it, which is not bad, but I would like them a bit lighter, that's better. I went to a different corner of my palette. when you have a palette as messy as mine, you have to learn to adjust. That's what I tell myself. Now, it takes a long time to paint a picture, so I have to cut my videos quite drastically. I can't show you absolutely every little detail. I do my best, but I don't like editing long videos. It is very tiring to me, so you'll have to bear with me. I think that's pretty good for that one. Okay, so we're going to work on this whitish one at the top, defining the petals. I've mixed in a little cad yellow. You might ask yourself, why did I put in all those shadows if I paint over them? Well, you know what? Little tiny spots of shadow peep through and it looks more realistic. And I'll go over areas, pop in petals here and there. Okay, so each floret has a little center. I don't know if it's called a stamen or a pistil or a combination of both, but it's like a little 4-point nodule. So I use a Q-tip sometimes I use a brush, but sometimes I use a Q-tip and I just mix a sort of light green and I'll just pop one little dot in the center here and there, not everywhere. You don't need a lot. And sometimes I might make them a little too strong. So I'll probably go in and take out the ones that I feel are a bit strong. I just dot them over. You can hardly see them sometimes. I think that's pretty good, except for this one here, which I don't like, so I'm going to take the other end of my Q-tip and I'm just going to wipe it out, and it's just left a smidgen in there, and a smidgen is all you really need. So I'm going to work some more on my leaves and stems, and I'm using a quarter inch flat, and I'm using sap green, some titanium white and some cad yellow, and I'm going to put in some lights. And I start on the outer edge of the leaf and just sort of stroke in. going to add some lights up here. Hydrangea leaves are quite strong looking, leathery leaves. I'm going to put some lights on there, but that's inside the vase, so I don't know how much of it will last throughout my painting. So I think that's pretty good for the leaves. Now I'm going to edge the stem, add some lights to that, and inside the vase again, so whether it will still be there at the end of the painting, I am not 100% sure, but we'll see. I'm actually going to lighten this up a little bit, just lighten that a little bit, add a bit more to that. I like that. Okay, so that's the end of this video, and I will complete the vase in another video to follow. Thanks for watching. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, and watch for my next video on how to paint the glass vase. Bye!